Fee, fi, fo, fum. That's what I would say. I wasn't doing a science project, but unfortunately, I am. This is Gas Guzzling Cells by Walker and Hunter Patterson. Mainly Walker. Starting off at number 1, the nucleus. Without the engine of the car, or the nucleus of the cell, quite simply, nothing can function in either system. The nucleus stores the cell's chromosomes, and the chromosomes, in turn, act as the hereditary material that determines the genetic makeup of the cell. The engine acts in the same way for the car. If the engine is more powerful, the car will go faster. If the nucleus is more efficient or less to the circumstances for the cell, then the entirety of both systems will be affected. Moving down to the nucleolus. The nucleolus is similar to the radiator of a car, as they both help higher powers of their system. The radiator helps the engine, and the nucleolus helps the nucleus. The radiator cools off the engine of the car, which holds all the power needed for the car to function, while the nucleolus helps the nucleus by creating ribosomal RNA, which helps in the genetic makeup of the cell. Moving down once again to the smooth endoplasmic reticulum. It smooths out the cell, if you will. Now I know it's real creative, but the suspension of a car smooths out the ride in the vehicle. Without it, the car may spiral out of control, and without the smooth endoplasmic reticulum, the cells may die. They both aid in the stability of the structure, allowing both to function not only as intended, but safely both for the passengers in the car and in the cell. Moving down to the not-so-smooth, rough endoplasmic reticulum. It's similar to the alternator of a car. The alternator of a car charges the battery and powers the electrical system of your car while it's running. The connection here is that the rough endoplasmic reticulum produces proteins for the cell, which aid in cell shape, inner organization, product manufacture, waste cleanup, and routine maintenance. Proteins also receive signals from outside the cell and mobilize intracellular response. So you could say that in the same way the alternator powers the electrical system of a car, the rough endoplasmic reticulum powers the cell. Moving down again, the Golgi is similar to the, I'll leave you hanging for a couple of seconds. The Golgi and transmission are similar, as they aren't the main systems, but the further process for both systems. The Golgi transports proteins throughout and modifies the eukaryotic cell from the rough endoplasmic reticulum. This is similar to the transmission of a car, as it makes use of what's already there, the engine torque, to further the systems by changing the gears and powering the car. Both of these can't act alone, but are vital to the integrity of the system overall. Moving down to the mitochondria, which I think everyone already knows is the powerhouse of the cell. The mitochondria generates most of the chemical energy needed to power the cell's biochemical reactions. And I think the most obvious part of the car that we could have gone with that matched this is the battery, so we put the battery. The battery powers the vehicle's electrical system. Not only would both of these systems not be able to run, the car and the cell in this case, they wouldn't have the power to run. Moving on to no one's favorite, the chloroplast of the cell is similar to the fuel tank of a car. You might say that the oil filter is the better piece of the car to match up because it's actually converting something, but I beg to differ. They are both places of additional energy for both systems, the car and the cell in this case, and the fuel tank stores the fuel, while the chloroplast is the site for photosynthesis. Now we get to the oil filter, talking about the vacuoles. The vacuoles and the oil filter are both in the waste management career, alright? They both assist in the trash department of our systems. They both sequester and help filter waste products within the system. In the same way that the vacuoles help maintain the water of the cell in check, the oil filter keeps the oil of the car in check. Moving down once more, the lysozymes and the catalytic converter, part of the cleanup team. The both of these take something that would otherwise be harmful to the system, and they break it down into something that can be, furthermore, taken out of the vehicle, or the cell, and away from the rest of the system. With both of these, the thing to remember is that they don't personally remove the waste of the vehicle, they only break it down into something that is easier to remove. The cytoskeleton. The cytoskeleton is a structure that helps cells maintain their shape and internal organization. What's a structure in the car that does the same thing that we haven't already covered? I think it's obviously, or not obviously, the frame. The frame and the cytoskeleton are both the structure of the system. Everything else is fine and dandy, but without these two, the system would collapse on itself. Doesn't matter if you have the most powerful engine, the best DNA making cell you've ever seen, but if you don't have something to keep the shape of the system it's in, it's worthless. Easily our biggest stretch so far, help me out here, Google.
Centrioles.
Thank you. Are similar to the taillights, believe it or not. That the taillights, you'd get in trouble with the police. Without cell division that the centrioles provide, you'd get in trouble with the big bad bacteria cells. On to our last and final one. Back to the waste management team even. The plasma cell membrane and the tailpipe both transport the harmful substances and waste out of the systems. The harmful substances weren't brought out of the systems, and the waste eventually would build up, lead to serious damage in both the car and the cell.